Hey everybody, it's episode 51 of Beers in the Lot. I'm going to level with you. There's not a whole lot going on right now, so this is one of our shorter episodes. But we did talk about Johnstown, we talked about Riggs' upcoming trip to the Level 5 Coaching Symposium for USA Hockey. We hit on a couple of free agent signings and the Kraken and the Olympics. We were everywhere. So let's get to it.
What are you drinking there, Aaron?
Tonight I have a Radler from our friends at Moosehead.
Oh, original.
Daniel, what you got?
I have Clown Shoes Bubble Farm IPA.
Nice.
Looks pretty
Bubble
interesting.
Farm.
Yeah.
And they always have good can art, too.
Oh, yeah. Check it out.
Yeah, Clown Shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a comic book.
Pretty dope.
Looks like they're farming bubbles.
Yeah. Weird.
You don't say.
What are you drinking there, Riggs?
I have an Aboriginal gangster from Aboriginal gangster from Burley Oak.
I love it.
Yeah, look at the thing. Yeah.
It looks like the
Rocco.
Rocco's
Yeah.
Modern
Yeah.
Life. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Aboriginal gangster
Aboriginal.
IPA. Yeah. From Burley Oak Brewing in Berlin, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore. So, and Johnny does not have beer. I heard the ice in the glass.
I heard
That's
the ice
right.
clinks.
Well, he's got to be
So-
classy. He's on a business trip.
Well, yeah, reporting. All right. Reporting from an undisclosed location where they only sell 30 racks due to the beer distribution laws. I'll just leave it at that. From Frankfort, Kentucky, USA, I have some Basil Hayden 80 proof. Just got a little travel bottle, so easier to travel with that than buy a full 30 rack of beers and cart that around.
Couldn't
I have
fit them all in the
issues.
mini
I
fridge.
have issues, but I don't need to advertise all my issues. So, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So,
Yeah, you gotta be careful
bourbon's
with those mini fridges too. You don't want to leave them open all night.
yeah, right. Good thing my air conditioning works.
Good thing
Yeah,
your air
right.
conditioning
That's
works
right.
and you're not in a state where you think leaving the fridge open will cool the room.
Oddly
That
enough, same
story
state.
has to be told.
Oddly enough,
Obviously.
same state, Aaron. I'm not that far. I'm not that far from the scene of the crime.
Did you test the air conditioning? Because it hasn't been hot
That's-
today. So, like,
No,
even
I
turn
leave it. I left it on. It's on auto, so it comes on every little bit for 5 minutes. So
unlike our room in Johnstown.
yeah.
But, yeah.
So our Johnstown tourney, as everyone knows, is just a great weekend full of fun and just hockey and just spectacular stories start to finish. Well, one evening, Eric and I were finished, so we did our sheets run because we consumed a lot of beverages. So that night, I decided to get an entire hot dog pizza because I was starving. I ate half of the
Hot dog
pizza. Yeah. And it was only because Brando was right next to me and goes, "Oh, that looks great." And he was chuckling. And I was like, "Oh, I'll get it. Haha." And then he's like, "Dude, that sounds so gross. Why'd you get it?" And I was like, "Oh, I thought." Anyway. So I ate half the pizza, I had to take the shelf out of the fridge and I put the pizza box in like it was an ATM card. I just stuck it in like it was an ATM card.
That's not why. Like, the fridge was fine then. It wasn't.
No,
so
yeah,
it was
so that was
working.
night one.
Yeah.
And then night two, we come back, and Eric and I, the first thing we noticed, because we got sheets again, the first thing we noticed was it was insanely hot in our room for some odd reason. It was really hot. So we're scrambling at 2 a.m. in the morning going it's too hot. We can't sleep. This is ridiculous. So finally, after fiddling around for a few minutes, we realized it's broken. We knew there were no more rooms because the hockey tournament's going on. So all the rooms are taken. So I had this awesome idea of taking the old pizza box and wedging it in the refrigerator door to leave the refrigerator door open, and then we opened our window to our room as well. Needless to say, the fridge wasn't working in the morning, but we slept okay.
Yeah, it was
And
cool.
then we got the hell out.
Oh.
Yeah,
We-
it was much
we learned-
cooler.
We learned something about how refrigerators work, and that if the compressor runs all the time for
Yeah.
hours on end, it doesn't tend to do well after the fact.
Yeah. So
And also, you lost the other half of the hot dog pizza, so
yeah,
there was another
rats.
casualty.
I was really upset about that. Riggs, talk about the USA Hockey thing. You're going for level 5. It's important. It is a big deal.
Is it important? Okay.
I think it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a
So
level 5, dog.
yeah, so USA Hockey every 2 years they do the level 5 Coaches Symposium. If you're a USA Hockey certified coach, you probably know what that means. If you're not, then there's 5 levels. 4 of them you can kind of get now either online or in person. Usually there's like regional things, but this national one's like every 2 years. The number that I saw from like the last time they had it, there were, I think, like 600, coaches from around the country that went to the last place it was at. I don't remember what city it was. So this year it's in Duluth, Minnesota. I'm going out with an old fat ball guys player that coaches with me a lot too. So we're going to have a good time out there. They announced that like Jeff Blashill is going to be there, Mike Sullivan, one of the Granado brothers. So they get like high level coaches that come in and like talk to us and teach us stuff. And we go on the ice 1 or 2 times and, learn how to do different things. So it should be awesome. And it's Duluth, Minnesota. I haven't been out there yet. So it'd be cool to see the town and maybe go hang out at the school a little bit, try and go to the bookstore and get some Bulldogs gear because, college hockey is a big deal up there. So that'll be cool. But yeah, should be awesome.
It's pretty dope. It's badass.
Yeah. Chilling with the future coach of Team USA. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
The head coach.
Yeah.
The head
Yeah,
coach.
the
of
head
Team
coach.
USA.
Not
Yeah,
future,
the head
whatever.
coach of the next Olympic team if they actually go.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of up in the air. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I watched the press availability when they announced Mike Sullivan and then the women's team's coach and the sled hockey coach for the Paralympic games, and I can't for the life of me remember who they were. But yeah, Sullivan even mentioned like, there's some uncertainty around if the NHL is going to go and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? But it would be cool.
It better go. I love watching that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be best on best, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What's the point in calling it the Olympics if you're not sending the best players in the world? I don't know.
yeah,
Seems silly.
especially like the last time NHLers didn't go. So it was like American League guys and college kids, junior hockey age kids, guys that were playing over in Europe. So that's cool. But then like the Russian Olympic Committee team, since Team Russia didn't actually go because they're in trouble.
Still playing for Russia. This is
Rated
bullshit.
athletes or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. They sent all their KHL guys.
Mhm.
So, okay. It's much better when it's best on best. Because then like
Yep.
USA, Canada, Russia, Sweden, Finland, Czech, not so much these days, but some of those other hockey crazy countries, send all their good players, and they're all names that and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have like NHL teammates playing against each other and for their countries. That's It's cool.
We
Exciting.
always like to see like the different lineups too, and like, oh, you get to see Crosby play with Jonathan Taves, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like just cool lines.
Yeah, get to
I
see
like seeing that.
Draisaitl
I like
play
seeing
with
other people play.
Kuhnhackl.
Yeah.
And Stutzla.
Oh, and Stutzla. Yeah.
There you go.
Come on. Easy. Well, I think like if you're a Team Canada person, you're probably getting really excited because you're going to have McKinnon, Sidney, and McDavid. Potentially, they all could play on the same line because Team Canada normally has a wealth of depth down the middle, so guys just move to wing. It's the way it works.
Yeah. Yeah, but wouldn't they too, like, because they've had lots of success with Crosby and Marchand together, and then they just kind of throw someone else on the line.
Right.
If Bergeron's healthy, he ends up on that line. So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, well, what's the saying? It's an embarrassment of riches, right? Like they're gonna have guys on the bottom six that are legit first liners in the NHL.
Top one players.
Yeah. So that was always the knock, or still is the knock against Babcock. Like, on his resume, everybody points to Olympic gold medal, and it's like, how could you not? How could you not win with that team? All you had to do was show up and, maybe
just
set a
Aaron
lineup
behind the bench. Just
yeah. The four of us could have coached.
You guys go out there.
I'm just gonna open the door.
Yeah, what are you talking about? They're NHL players. Tell them to hop over the boards. I'm sitting on the bench, like looking cool. Like, I'm excited for USA because we as a country have a lot of young talent.
Yes.
And it's not like before in previous generations, like you could go to the Salt Lake Olympics in the last couple since then. Like, I wouldn't say we have top end talent. We have like definitely close to top tier. We could say that, but not top end. Like now with Gaudreau and Matthews, and you have an aging Patrick Kane, but he's still at the top of his game. You got tons of guys. Eichel, if
he's
Eichel,
healthy.
I think it's going to be dependent on surgery. Yeah, there's
Caulfield.
Yeah,
Zegras.
The Hughes. The Hughes brothers. The Hughes clan. The entire Hughes clan.
Yeah, the Hugheses.
The Hugheses.
Who's the other kid out in Anaheim?
Zegras. Danny said
No, the other one. There's another one that played for that World Junior team. I can't remember his name.
Can't remember it either.
Anyways, there's a lot of young talent, like you said, for Team USA. And when I looked at, there were people that were posting, projected depth charts and all this kind of stuff. And I went through the list. Like, yeah, you know what? If they actually go to this Olympics, USA this is probably the best shot that USA has had at a gold medal at the Olympics in a long time, maybe since 2010.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So that would be awesome. So hopefully they go.
Well, I would say too, we got you have Connor Hellebuck, John Gibson, Thatcher Demko. Even though he's younger, Demko may make it. I don't know if he'll play, but like there are 3 top flight goalies right there between Gibson and Hellebuck. I have no problem with either of those guys going in and doing anything. They'll be fine. Yeah. And also Team USA women's ice hockey too. They're going to be just fine going into the next Olympics.
Yeah.
Because Canada has all the pressure on the women's side too. They haven't beat Team USA in a big game. So cross fingers. Hopefully that streak continues.
We could talk about the Kraken's contract getting denied.
What shocks you more about free agency, though? The fact that Suter got a contract again for 3 years, or the fact that Seattle signed a contract that was not in the in the spirit of the CBA.
The Grubauer thing, though, they worked it out, right? Like they fixed it, and now it's fine.
Yeah.
So whatever. Now Suter. 3 years.
Yeah, that's madness.
What kind of money on that contract?
For him, I know it was Dallas Stars. It's a 4-year deal. 3.6.
4 years.
A year?
4 years. Not
3.6 a year?
3.6 a year, so 14 mil.
How old is he?
Too old.
No spring chicken, that's for sure.
That's too much term.
Is that an over 35?
He is currently 36. He is 36.
That's an over 35 contract. So
yeah,
they get penalized if he goes out early, right? If he retires early.
Yep.
What is Dallas doing anyway? Like, what the hell?
The other team that kind of makes me scratch my head thinking of that is still Carolina.
Oh my God.
We're not starting this again.
Do we really have to talk about them again?
We don't need to, but I called the goalie they were going to sign because it just looked like it, and I don't see that as an upgrade. And then also, like we said in our group chat, I have severe issues with a few other signings for several reasons, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about them anymore.
I don't either. We won't.
They're doing bad things.
Bad things. Watch them come out and win like 2 or 3 playoffs rounds.
No, they won't.
I don't think so.
I would be shocked. But Dallas bothers me because they still have Jake Ottinger, Khudobin, and Ben Bishop. And they got to get rid of one of those gentlemen. And I don't see anybody taking Ben Bishop. So that means you got to move Khudobin because he's the most attractive one. But also it's late in the game. Who's going to take a goalie at this point?
At this point, right. There were so many moves. Like around both drafts, the free agency, like teams just went nuts. And it seemed like a lot of them were just making moves because they felt like they had to. I don't know. But
yeah.
Like there are a lot of teams I felt like made moves that didn't have to. They were in good shape. They had to sign some key free agents and yeah. Well, they're weird though because they're old at certain positions and they're young at others and
were you surprised to see them let Krejci walk?
Well, I think he wanted to retire more, but it was more like he has 1 or 2 years and he was gonna play in Czech anyway. I think he's kind of doing like the Yager thing to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
So, but David Krejci's like a really good player, but he was also never like a fast player. So even when they won the cup years ago against Vancouver, he was never fast. He always was in the play, kind of like Joe Thornton. Like he's always in the play, but he's not at the.
Well, Bergeron's not fast.
He moves faster than Krejci though.
Those type of guys are just smart, right? Like they just they know where to go.
Yeah.
They know where to go. They know where the puck's gonna be. So they're just smart. He was never like he wasn't very high though in their lineup. Was he ever? I don't really know, but
just fuck them.
He was middle. He was middle six, right? But he wasn't like
usually.
Yeah, I think he was middle
line.
Six.
Yeah,
like all the time.
And he'd always do really well in the playoffs. Regular season, he was there. He contributed, but he didn't
just average
light it up.
Yeah.
He did his damage in the playoffs. But Pittsburgh actually did all right. I like the Danton Heining signing. That's not bad.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that.
So I think Pittsburgh did okay. We didn't spend a ton of money. Thank God for a change.
Well, they're trying to undo some things there.
Yeah, they can't.
Yeah.
They're in those like weird years where they're strapped. Like,
and they have no draft picks.
Well, and hopefully they don't do what Boston's
kind of bare.
Hopefully they don't do what Boston's done like the last, 5 years or so, maybe a little bit longer, where they just kind of like limp along through their cap issues and they're kind of competitive and sometimes they're contenders and then they're not. It's your famous saying, Johnny, the circle of average.
Yeah.
It's
unfortunately,
circle of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the problem is, like, and I've said this, but I'll, like, Boston, I would definitely say Pittsburgh. Yeah, the three teams that we said at the beginning of last season, like, they're in this weird zone because they're going to make the playoffs because they have the pieces to make their playoffs, but they're either too depleted in their farm system, they're not deep enough on draft picks, and the core they have is aging, but there's not enough in that middle group between the young guns and the guys you should have technically had because they were mortgaging the future to try and be more competitive for cups.
But the aging core is also generational talent. So that will get you into the playoffs, but you also need those other pieces once you get to the playoffs.
They'll get you there, but they're not going to get you through.
Right.
Like, that's the one issue. And then because they mortgage the future, their draft picks are somewhat so-so, but then they're getting later round draft picks. So you're not, I wouldn't say you're not bottoming out to get like lottery picks, but you're not in the top 10 every year.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of steals you can do. Obviously, you could find talent, but it's, it's harder sometimes when you don't get those generational players or, top flight prospects.
Pens picked 58th. What was the low pick for the Caps?
They were in the first round, I believe.
I have
57?
no idea.
Yeah, they're the first round. But
I have no idea.
Yeah,
well, I was more directed at John.
I pay
because John was watching.
Right.
Well, the kid that the Pens actually got, Bros, he was supposed to be taken by the Caps. A lot of mock drafts had him going to the Caps. So
he's a bro.
I pay zero attention.
I know Rigsy pays zero attention, and I'm like, I loved it.
The draft after like number 8 spot. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's kind of meh after that. I agree. Yeah.
I just randomly picked number 8 too.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to pay lip service to the fact that, the consensus number 1, right? The term that gets thrown around. Yeah, that's an exciting player. No matter what draft you're in, that number 1 that everybody agrees should be number 1 that goes number 1. That's an exciting hockey player, and they're going to do something, right? Especially these days, since all the, we were talking about Olympics before, all the sort of national team development organizations and programs around the world are doing a great job. So yeah, the number 1 is always going to be very exciting, but you know what? We already know who it's going to be, like a year out, sometimes more than a year out. So I really don't care about the draft.
Yeah, it's Shane Wright, and then it's Connor Bedard 2 years after this. So
cool.
Whatever. Yeah, cool.
Cool. All right, that's all we got for this one. As always, thanks for listening. And be sure to check out beersandalot.com so you can get to our Discord, get to our Patreon, and come talk to us and support the show. But anyway, we'll be back next week with a maybe longer, maybe shorter episode. We'll see. Who knows? You'll just have to listen and find out. But until then, thanks again for listening. See ya.